Do you ever wonder why, despite doing all the right things, using skincare, exercising, trying to stay healthy, you still feel and look older than you should? I used to think I was doing everything right, too, until I uncovered the shocking truth hiding in my own diet. What I ate every day was secretly accelerating the aging process, and I didn't even realize it. Today, I'm revealing the hidden dietary traps that are making you age faster, and how I turned it all around. Trust me, this is the information I wish I'd known years ago. Let's dive in. The sneaky foods that speed up wrinkles, I'd die. Have to admit, for years I thought I was doing everything right. I used fancy serums, moisturizers, even invested in facials, all in an effort to keep my skin looking youthful and glowing. But no matter what I tried on the outside, the wrinkles kept coming and my skin felt more tired and saggy by the day. It wasn't until I took a hard look at what I was putting into my body that I realized I was sabotaging myself without even knowing it. One of the biggest shockers was how everyday, seemingly harmless foods were speeding up my skin's aging process. I had no idea that things I was eating regularly, thinking they were quick, easy, and even healthy, were actually breaking down the collagen in my skin, leading to fine lines, dullness, and a lack of elasticity. Take, for instance, the low-fat crackers I used to munch on during the day. I thought I was making a smart choice by avoiding chips and sweets. But guess what? Those crackers were loaded with refined carbs, which quickly converted to sugar in my body. That sugar, in turn, was fueling something called glycation, a process where sugar molecules bind to collagen and elastin fibers, making them stiff and prone to breakage. Translation: more wrinkles and sagging skin. I also loved flavored yogurts, thinking they were a good source of probiotics and calcium, but most of them were packed with added sugars. I didn't realize that the excess sugar was silently breaking down my skin's structure from the inside out. It was like feeding the aging process every single morning. Another sneaky culprit: the so-called healthy granola bars I'd keep in my bag for a quick snack. I never bothered to read the labels, but when I finally did, I was shocked to see how much sugar and processed oils they contained. That combination was a double whammy, not only fueling glycation, but also triggering inflammation, which is a major contributor to premature aging. And don't even get me started on diet sodas. I used to think they were a better choice than regular soda because they were sugar-free. But those artificial sweeteners, they were messing with my gut microbiome and leading to cravings for even more sugar. Plus, recent studies show they might be linked to skin issues and deeper lines. When I put all this together, it was like a light bulb went off. I realized I wasn't aging faster because of my genetics or bad luck. I was doing it to myself with the food choices I made every single day. The worst part? I thought I was eating healthy. It was heartbreaking at first because I felt betrayed by my own habits, but it was also empowering. Once I recognized the problem, I knew I could change it. I started by cleaning up my snacks, swapping out sugary crackers for raw nuts, choosing plain Greek yogurt with fresh fruit instead of sugary versions, and ditching granola bars altogether in favor of a handful of almonds or a hard-boiled egg. I even tackled my love for diet sodas by switching to sparkling water with lemon. It wasn't easy at first, but within a week I noticed I wasn't craving sweets as much and my skin looked a little brighter. Over time, I could actually see a difference: fewer fine lines, less puffiness, and an overall healthier glow. The truth is, we often underestimate the impact of our daily food choices on our skin and overall aging. It's not just about avoiding fried foods or cutting back on desserts. It's about being mindful of the hidden sugars and processed carbs lurking in our so-called healthy snacks and meals. One thing I found incredibly helpful was to read ingredient labels carefully. If sugar, high fructose corn syrup, or unpronounceable chemicals are in the first few ingredients, I put it back on the shelf. I also learned that many refined carbs, like white bread, pasta, and even certain breakfast cereals, act just like sugar in the body. They spike insulin levels, trigger inflammation, and contribute to collagen breakdown. Now, I focus on whole, nutrient-rich foods. Instead of toast in the morning, I'll have a protein-rich smoothie with berries and greens. Instead of grabbing crackers or chips, I snack on veggies with hummus. And instead of sugary yogurts, I make my own with plain Greek yogurt and a drizzle of honey. Here's the exciting part. Within just a few weeks of making these changes, I felt more energized. My skin looked firmer, and even my friends started asking what I was doing differently. It wasn't magic or expensive treatments. It was simply removing the sneaky aging foods from my diet and replacing them with skin-friendly alternatives. But this is just the beginning. I realized that sugar and refined carbs aren't the only villains in the story. There are other hidden dangers in our diets that silently speed up the aging process, and I can't wait to share them with you in the next sections. How hidden sugars are hijacking your youth. After uncovering the sneaky foods in my diet that were speeding up wrinkles, I couldn't believe how deep the rabbit hole went. But the real shocker was hidden sugars. I used to think sugar was easy to spot. Those candy bars, sodas, and pastries that we all know aren't great for us. But what I didn't realize was that sugar was hiding everywhere, even in the foods I thought were good for me. It wasn't just the obvious sweets. It was in things like salad dressings, sauces, flavored yogurts, and even whole grain breads. These so-called healthy foods were loaded with added sugars that my body wasn't designed to handle. And the worst part? I didn't even notice them creeping into my daily meals. I remember one morning when I was feeling extra sluggish and puffy. I looked in the mirror and saw my face looked tired, with more lines than usual. My first thought was, did I not sleep enough? But deep down, I knew it was something more. I went to my kitchen and started reading the labels of everything I ate that morning. My granola, packed with sugar. My almond milk, sweetened. Even my healthy protein bar, loaded with hidden sugars. I felt betrayed. So, I decided to dig deeper. I learned that these hidden sugars are masterful at hijacking our skin's natural repair process. They increase something called glycation, where excess sugar binds to collagen and elastin, the proteins that keep our skin firm and elastic. Glycation not only damages these proteins, but also creates harmful free radicals that lead to sagging, skin, dullness, and premature wrinkles. But it wasn't just my skin. I realized that sugar spikes my insulin levels, causing inflammation throughout my body. That inflammation made my joints ache, my energy crash, and my brain feel foggy. It was like sugar was robbing me of my vitality, one spoonful at a time. Started paying closer attention to labels. I learned that sugar comes in many disguises, like high fructose corn syrup, cane juice, brown rice syrup, agave, and even fruit concentrates. These names made it easy to think a product was natural or healthy, but they were just as harmful. At first, cutting out these hidden sugars was tough. I missed my flavored yogurts, my morning granola, and those sweetened almond milks. But I knew I had to make a change. I started experimenting with low-sugar swaps. I replaced granola with unsweetened oatmeal topped with berries and nuts. I made my own salad dressings with olive oil, lemon juice, and herbs. I chose unsweetened almond or coconut milk. Slowly, my cravings for sugar started to fade. What amazed me was how quickly my body responded. Within a couple of weeks, my skin started looking brighter and clearer. The fine lines around my mouth and eyes softened. My energy levels were more stable, and the mental fog lifted. Even my digestion improved. It was as if my body was thanking me for finally giving it the fuel it needed to heal. But it wasn't just about cutting sugar. It was about retraining my taste buds. I realized I didn't need everything to taste sweet. Over time, I began to appreciate the natural sweetness of fruits and the richness of whole foods. I started enjoying herbal teas instead of sweetened drinks, and found that a square of dark chocolate was more satisfying than an entire candy bar. one of the most powerful. Things I did was journaling my meals and how I felt afterward. I kept track of what I ate and noticed patterns. When I had a meal with hidden sugars, I felt bloated, sluggish, and irritable. But when I ate whole, low-sugar foods, I felt energized, focused, and more youthful. This simple practice helped me stay motivated and mindful of my choices. Here's something I didn't expect. My cravings for sugar weren't just physical, they were emotional. I often reached for sweet treats when I was stressed, tired, or bored. But once I became aware of this pattern, I started replacing those habits with healthier coping mechanisms, like going for a walk, doing some deep breathing, or sipping on herbal tea. By eliminating hidden sugars, I was doing more than just improving my skin. I was reducing chronic inflammation, balancing my hormones, and supporting my body's natural detoxification systems. I felt lighter, brighter, and more confident in my own skin. Now I won't lie and say I never indulge. Life is about balance, and I do enjoy a sweet treat now and then. But the difference is that I'm in control now. I know where the sugars are hiding, and I make conscious choices about when and how I indulge. This journey of cutting hidden sugars was like lifting a veil. I could finally see what had been sabotaging me for years. And I know I'm not alone. Many of us are unknowingly consuming far more sugar than we realize, and it's silently accelerating the aging process. If you're watching this, I challenge you to start reading your food labels and tracking your sugar intake. You might be surprised, just like I was. Start by swapping out just 1 or 2 sugary foods a day and notice how your skin, energy, and mood improve. In the next section, I'll dive even deeper into the world of aging and reveal the inflammation bombs I never saw coming, foods that were triggering chronic inflammation and making me look and feel older than I was. But don't worry, I'll also share the delicious anti-inflammatory alternatives that helped me turn things around. Stay tuned. Inflammation bombs you didn't see coming. After I discovered how hidden sugars were sabotaging my youth, I thought I had things pretty much under control. But I was wrong. There was an even deeper problem lurking in my diet, one that was quietly fueling chronic inflammation throughout my body. This wasn't just making me feel tired and achy, it was also accelerating aging from the inside out. I first learned about this when I started researching the connection between diet and skin health. I read that chronic inflammation doesn't just affect your heart or joints, it also damages collagen and elastin, the key proteins that keep skin firm and youthful. And the scary part? I was unknowingly feeding this inflammation with every day foods I thought were harmless or even healthy. One of the biggest culprits was the refined vegetable oils I used for cooking. You know, those bottles of canola, corn, or soybean oil that line the grocery store shelves? I used to think they were healthier than butter or lard because they were labeled heart-healthy. But in reality, they're loaded with omega-6 fatty acids, which, when consumed in excess, create an imbalance in the body and promote chronic inflammation. I remember the moment I realized this. I was making a salad and drizzling it with a store-bought vinaigrette, thinking I was doing something good for my body. Then I glanced at the ingredients and saw soybean oil listed as the first ingredient. I checked the cooking sprays in my pantry. Same story. Even the crackers I loved were made with refined vegetable oils. It felt like these inflammation bombs were hiding everywhere in my kitchen. Another sneaky source of inflammation was the processed carbs I had in my pantry, white bread, pasta, and even whole wheat products that were made with refined flour. These foods rapidly spike blood sugar levels, leading to insulin surges and inflammatory responses. I realized that my so-called healthy pasta night was actually setting me up for puffy skin, joint discomfort, and energy crashes the next day. And then there was red meat and processed meats. Now, I love a good steak or a slice of bacon as much as anyone, but I didn't realize that regular consumption of these meats, especially processed ones like sausages and deli cuts, could contribute to inflammation. They contain advanced glycation, end products, ages, and other compounds that promote oxidative stress and damage to collagen fibers. What's worse, these inflammation bombs weren't just affecting my skin. They were impacting my gut health, my joints, and even my mood. I started noticing patterns. After eating a meal high in refined carbs or processed meats, I felt bloated, sluggish, and sometimes even irritable. My skin would look duller, and the lines around my mouth and eyes seemed more pronounced. So I made it my mission to identify and replace these inflammation triggers. I swapped out refined vegetable oils for healthier fats like extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, and grass-fed butter. These fats not only added flavor to my meals, but also provided beneficial omega-3s and antioxidants that support healthy, glowing skin. I also reduced my intake of processed carbs by switching to whole grains like quinoa, brown rice, and oats, and even experimented with low-carb alternatives like spiralized zucchini noodles and cauliflower rice. These swaps kept my blood sugar stable and reduced that post-meal crash I used to experience. As for red and processed meats, I didn't eliminate them completely, but I cut back significantly. I prioritized grass-fed, lean cuts and added more plant-based proteins like lentils, chickpeas, and tofu to my meals. These changes not only reduced inflammation, but also made me feel lighter and more energized. One of the most transformative shifts I made was incorporating anti-inflammatory foods into my diet. I started adding turmeric to my soups and teas, using fresh ginger in stir-fries, and loading up on leafy greens and colorful vegetables. I discovered the power of foods rich in antioxidants and polyphenols, like berries, green tea, and dark chocolate, to fight free radicals and reduce oxidative stress. And let me tell you, the difference was remarkable. Within a few weeks, the puffiness in my face and body started to fade. My skin looked clearer and more radiant, and I felt more flexible and comfortable in my own body. Even my sleep improved, and I woke up feeling refreshed instead of groggy. One of the most surprising benefits was how my mood shifted. Reducing inflammation didn't just make me look younger, it also helped me feel happier and more balanced. I realized that chronic inflammation wasn't just an issue of skin and aging, it was affecting my whole being. The key takeaway here is that inflammation is the hidden enemy of youthful energy and radiant skin. It's not just about what you avoid, it's about what you add to your diet. By incorporating more anti-inflammatory foods and cutting back on processed carbs, refined oils, and excessive red meats, you can give your body the tools it needs to heal and regenerate. In the next section, I'll reveal the one hydration mistake I made that was silently aging me, and how a simple shift in my morning routine completely turned things around. Trust me, this is a game changer you don't want to miss. The hydration mistake that aged me overnight. For years, I thought I was doing everything right when it came to hydration. I carried a reusable water bottle everywhere, sipped on herbal teas, and even made it a point to drink extra water during workouts. I thought I was ahead of the game. But then one morning, I woke up, looked in the mirror, and almost didn't recognize myself. My skin looked dull and tight. Fine lines seemed deeper, and my lips were dry and cracked. I felt tired and foggy, even though I had slept for 8 hours. At first, I chalked it up to a stressful week, but deep down, I knew something else was going on. That's when I started digging into hydration and its role in aging. What I learned shocked me. It wasn't just about drinking water, it was about how and when I was drinking it. My hydration routine was actually sabotaging my skin and speeding up the aging process. Let me explain. I used to wake up and immediately down a big glass of cold water, thinking it would kickstart my metabolism. But what I didn't realize was that cold water first thing in the morning can shock the digestive system, making it less effective at absorbing nutrients. Even worse, I often forgot to hydrate before bed, or after waking up dehydrated from sleep, leaving my skin and body craving moisture. Another mistake I made was relying too much on plain water without electrolytes. While water is essential, Our bodies need electrolytes like sodium, potassium, and magnesium to retain and utilize that hydration effectively. Without them, the water I drank was just passing through me, leaving my skin dry and my cells undernourished. I also discovered that I was drinking a lot of caffeinated beverages like coffee and black tea, without balancing them with extra hydration. These drinks act as diuretics, pulling water from the body and leaving me more dehydrated than I realized. It was no wonder my skin looked tired and dull, and I felt sluggish even after a full night's sleep. But the biggest game changer was understanding the timing of hydration. I learned that hydrating first thing in the morning with warm water and a pinch of sea salt or a squeeze of lemon could jumpstart my digestion, replenish lost fluids from the night, and help my body absorb nutrients more effectively. This simple shift made my skin look more vibrant and my energy levels soar. I also started sipping water consistently throughout the day instead of chugging large amounts at once. Chugging water can actually dilute stomach acid, making digestion less efficient and leading to bloating and discomfort. By drinking small amounts regularly, I kept my body's hydration levels stable and supported my skin's elasticity. One of the most surprising things I discovered was the role of hydrating foods. I used to think hydration was just about what I drank, but foods like cucumbers, watermelon, oranges, and leafy greens are packed with water and essential minerals. Adding these to my meals helped me stay hydrated from the inside out and provided a natural source of electrolytes. I also made a conscious effort to cut back on excessive salt and processed foods, which can cause water retention and leave the skin looking puffy and tired. Instead, I focused on whole, unprocessed foods that supported my body's natural balance. The transformation was almost immediate. Within days of making these changes, my skin looked plumper and more radiant. The fine lines around my eyes and mouth softened and my lips felt smoother. I had more energy, clearer thinking, and better digestion. Even my sleep improved. I no longer woke up in the middle of the night feeling thirsty or needing to use the bathroom. And the best part? I felt more connected to my body. I wasn't just drinking water mindlessly. I was listening to my body's signals, adjusting my hydration habits to support my skin, energy, and overall vitality. But I didn't stop there. I started experimenting with homemade electrolyte drinks, combining filtered water with sea salt, lemon juice, and a touch of honey. This natural solution kept me hydrated during workouts and long days without the sugar and chemicals of commercial sports drinks. I also learned to avoid drinking too much water right before meals, as it can dilute digestive enzymes and make it harder for the body to break down food. Instead, I aimed to hydrate at least 30 minutes before eating, giving my body the fluids it needed without interfering with digestion. And perhaps the most overlooked hydration mistake I corrected was forgetting to hydrate at night. I started keeping a glass of water by my bed and taking a few sips if I woke up during the night. This simple habit kept me from waking up feeling parched and helped maintain my skin's moisture balance. Looking back, I realized that hydration is one of the easiest yet most powerful ways to slow down the aging process. It's not just about drinking water. It's about hydrating smartly, nourishing the body with electrolytes, hydrating foods, and timing it right. If you're watching this, I challenge you to rethink your hydration habits. Start tomorrow morning. By sipping warm water with a pinch of salt or lemon, add hydrating foods to your meals, and pay attention to how your skin and energy levels respond. It might seem simple, but trust me, it's a game changer. In the final section, I'll reveal the surprising morning ritual that helped me reverse visible signs of aging and gave me a newfound glow. This last part ties everything together and shows how small, consistent actions can transform your appearance and well-being. You won't want to miss it. The morning ritual that reversed my visible aging signs. I'll never forget the moment I realized that aging wasn't just about what I avoided in my diet, it was about what I intentionally did every single morning. After years of trying serums, creams, and strict eating plans, The true breakthrough came from a simple, consistent morning ritual that rejuvenated my skin, boosted my energy, and even improved my mood. It wasn't about a magic product or a secret formula. It was about combining the right actions in a deliberate morning routine that set the tone for my entire day and, over time, reversed visible signs of aging. Let me take you back to where it all began. I used to be that person who rolled out of bed and reached for my phone, immediately bombarded by emails, social media notifications, and news headlines. Within minutes, I was overwhelmed, stressed, and mentally cluttered. Not only was this draining my focus, but it was also triggering a cortisol surge, the stress hormone linked to accelerated aging and collagen breakdown. So, the first shift I made was to reclaim the first 30 minutes of my day, completely technology-free. No phone, no TV, no distractions. Instead, I used this time to center myself and activate my body's natural healing systems. The first part of my ritual was deep breathing and gentle stretching. I'd stand by an open window, take 10 slow, deep breaths, and gently stretch my spine, shoulders, and neck. This not only helped oxygenate my body, but also signaled to my nervous system that it was safe and calm. It's amazing how this simple practice made my skin look brighter and my eyes more awake, even before I washed my face. Next came hydration, but not just any hydration. I sipped on a warm glass of water with a squeeze of lemon and a pinch of high-quality sea salt. This combination replenished my electrolytes, stimulated digestion, and gave my skin an immediate glow. Over time, I noticed that my complexion looked more even and my lips felt softer and plumper. Then, I incorporated a quick lymphatic drainage massage for my face. I used my fingertips and a jade roller to gently stimulate the lymph nodes along my jawline, neck, and under-eye area. This helped reduce puffiness, promote circulation, and flush out toxins that accumulate overnight. It only took 5 minutes, but the difference in my skin's tone and texture was undeniable. One of the most profound additions to my morning ritual was sunlight exposure. I made it a point to step outside or sit by a window for at least 10-15 minutes, ideally within an hour of waking. Natural sunlight helped regulate my circadian rhythm, improved my sleep quality, and boosted my mood by increasing serotonin levels. Plus, it provided a gentle dose of vitamin D, essential for skin health and collagen production. I also prioritized a nourishing breakfast packed with protein, healthy fats, and antioxidants. Gone were the days of sugary cereals and processed carbs. I shifted to options like Greek yogurt with berries and chia seeds, scrambled eggs with spinach and avocado, or a protein smoothie with greens and almond butter. This stabilized my blood sugar, reduced inflammation, and kept me feeling full and energized for hours. But the real magic happened when I combined all these elements into a consistent routine. Over a few weeks, I noticed my skin's tone even out, my energy levels stabilize, and my overall sense of well-being improved dramatically. Fine lines softened, dark circles faded, and I felt a renewed sense of vitality, almost like I had pressed a reset button on aging. What I realized was that aging isn't something that happens overnight. It's the cumulative effect of small daily habits. By reclaiming my morning with intention and care, I wasn't just improving how I looked, I was transforming how I felt from the inside out. Now let me share a bonus tip that took my morning ritual to the next level: mindfulness and gratitude. Journaling. Each morning after my breathing, hydration, and skincare routine, I took 5 minutes to jot down 3 things I was grateful for and 1 intention for the day. This simple practice shifted my mindset from stress and scarcity to abundance and positivity. Research shows that gratitude practices can lower cortisol levels, reduce inflammation, and even improve heart health, all factors that contribute to a more youthful, radiant appearance. I noticed that the days I practiced gratitude were the days I felt lighter, happier, and more confident in my own skin. I want you to imagine this. You wake up tomorrow morning, set aside your phone, take a few deep breaths, Hydrate your body, move gently, nourish your skin, soak up some sunlight, and fuel your body with a wholesome breakfast. You've just given your body the gift of healing and rejuvenation, and you're starting your day with clarity and purpose. And here's the best part. You don't need expensive products or complicated routines. You just need consistency and the willingness to put yourself first, even if it's just for those first 30 minutes of the day. So as you followed me through these sections, from hidden sugars and inflammatory foods to hydration mistakes and morning rituals, I hope you see how each small change adds up to a powerful transformation. Aging is inevitable, but how we age is something we can influence day by day, choice by choice. If you're ready to embrace these shifts, start tomorrow morning. Set your alarm a little earlier, prepare your space the night before, and commit to giving yourself those precious moments of self-care. Your skin, your energy, and your inner vitality will thank you for it. And if you're looking for even more tips and personal insights, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, because I'll be sharing more practical, science-backed strategies to help you look and feel your best at any age.